Yo, what is going on, Raiders? The Bozzz here, and finally we've reached the big final match of Season 2, where the best 4 out of 8 players are fighting for some diamonds and for the honor, of course. For today I've decided to come up with, in my opinion, the strongest base layout of all previous series, but we'll talk about that in a minute. First, let me remind you of the rules for one last time. It's not allowed to use dragons and buffs in battles, everything else is allowed. Now that we have clarified on that, I also had small changes for the amount players could attack. For the reason that I want this episode to be something which could expose to us the best strategies of the players who are participating, I've allowed them to do 2 attacks on my base, and the best one will be taken into consideration when we have to determine the first place. The funny thing is, if we just have a look at the worst attack of all players, nobody got any star against my base, and now let me explain to you why this has happened. This is actually quite a nasty base layout, because I had time to observe which strategy all participants used to attack me, and fortunately they were all quite similar. They attack in 2 groups of marauders to clear the path to the center and then make a big push into the core with a lot of cannoneers. My aim therefore was to decimate all the incoming troops right from the beginning, so that the players don't have a chance to prepare a proper entrance for the cannoneers, and therefore I've moved the traps further to the outside instead of having them in the core. Since we only have 6 chakra traps, we need at least 4 of them to do that effectively. The players must attack therefore at least from one side where the troops run into them. Therefore I've tried to make one side where not so many defensive buildings and traps are look more powerful, so that they don't attack from that side and think that it's far safer to attack from another side where although my traps are waiting for them. To do that I've used the 2 dragon towers on top and the cloud funnel to make the attacker feel uncomfortable when he would enter the battlefield there. I could now talk hours about this base layout, but we're here today for some attacks, so we'll skip that, and these were basically the main ideas of this base layout, which prevented anybody from getting a single star in their first attempt. So it'll be quite interesting to see who adapts to the new situation and chooses a different strategy to get to my stronghold. Let's have a look at the players, and we're gonna start off first with demons and agaisnt, because there are no Stronghold 10 players, and later we're gonna have a look at them as well. Before we start, at the end of this video I will also announce the 3 players who have voted correct for the player who got the first place. So let's get into the first fight.
Beat the boss, demons.
So Demon starts off with just 2 marauders and some cannoneers. I guess from the first attack he already knew where my shockward trap was standing, which he wanted to trigger with them, and also the looters are also only mine seekers. After that's been taken care of, he starts his big push, and it looks like that he wants to make there a path for his incoming troops, but the burster is getting destroyed too early from the cannoneers, and that's why the new group of marauders lock onto the crow's nest. Exactly for this purpose I've moved the tower so far into the back, because if the attack is not timed well, the troops will just move around the core, since all other buildings got already destroyed, which would have made it possible for the troops to move there. And that's why also the big cannoneer group doesn't have a chance to get there, and also will now start to move around and will eventually run in some traps which are waiting for them. And there is one thing which I love to see, and that is when cannoneers run straight into the large explosive trap, which takes out in this attack almost all of his cannoneers. That means this fight comes to an end now, and seriously I'm surprised how this attack was, considering first he's a Stronghold 8 player against an almost fully upgraded Stronghold 10, so there's a huge difference, and by taking out the traps right in the beginning he could do this much damage to my base. So I see here clearly that he improved from his first attack, which was 28%, and since he's been the underdog in the eyes of many viewers, he did here a decent job with 36%, but now it's time for fight number 2.
Beat the boss, agaisnt.
Alright, the second fight is from agaisnt, and he starts off with the Berserk barrel and uses a large group of marauders and cannoneers to take out the bunker troops. Then he uses some healers as well, and of course there are no problems to get rid of my bunker troops when all of his army focuses on them. But then a large group of cannoneers splits up to the left, and that's decreasing his attacking power of his main army, which is currently making its way into the core. Then he uses a fog barrel on the left group, which is getting killed in a few seconds, and will be the reason why he wasn't be able to destroy the stronghold, but we'll observe that in a minute. So his troops are stuck now at the walls, and we need to wait just a little because now the effect of the fog barrel would have been needed here. So the marauders destroy the wall and start to destroy first the towers with the help of 3 cannoneers. However, as soon as they reach the next cannoneer fort, the dragon tower starts to do his job, and with his massive power these marauders are faster dead than looters can steal gold. And this means Zeus has only the cannoneers left but no barrel. and all the towers from me have no problems to kill them before they can get rid of the Stronghold. That's why the Fog Barrel was needed there so badly, because this would have guaranteed his first star. Surprisingly though, he still got an army left, which is coming off from the top, but we know that he has no barrels left, which means they won't be too much of a threat in the end, and they're just there to make some more percentages on my base. Overall a good attack. Fortunately for him, I didn't have a shock rod trap standing at his entrance spot, which would have changed the situation, but that of course is a problem when you speculate with the placement of the traps about where the enemy will enter your base, when they are standing so far on the outside. Alright, this leaves us here with 43% damage. He almost destroyed my Stronghold, which is remarkable as a Stronghold 9 player, so let's see what the current status of the tournament is. So Demons got here with his damage bonus, in total 61% damage, and agaisnt is very close behind him. His normal damage result was 43%, and since his bonus is 15%, he gets in total 58%. This means Demons is taking on the lead in BTB, but there are still the Stronghold 10 players left, and I'm expecting some exciting fights coming up now.
Beat the boss, Chinito.
So our first Stronghold 10 player will be Chinito, and it looks like he wants to start off as well at the bottom and aims to lure the raiders out of the bunker. What I found quite interesting to see so far is that all players started their attacks from the bottom. Everybody avoided the top of the base, which is actually weaker since you can take out both with the Fog Barrel on Cannoneers, and there are no troop bunkers, so it seems like that my plan was successful to let players attack from the bottom, as the top looks more threatening. Now the Bombardier enters to kill those raiders, which will take up some time as well, so his start was quite slow, and he needs to hurry afterwards if he wants to win here. Remember, he would need over 61% damage to win this episode. And he attempts to do that with a huge group of Marauders who's getting healed by 2 healers. Then he uses 2 other groups of Marauders on the side to cover a wide area where the Cannoneers should be able to attack as they please later on, I guess. And uses raiders and archers to get rid of the traps there as well. But because he's attacking on such a huge area, he's using a lot of troops already right in the beginning. That's a mistake if you're attacking higher level players. I said it already in another episode. The bigger the area you attack, the more attacking power you lose where it's mostly needed. And then, here comes the mistake, which is determining the outcome of the battle. The Fog Barrel was thrown on the Marauders. Never ever, or basically only a few cases, use your Fog Barrel on your Marauders, because their purpose is to take up the damage for the weaker troops, but if the towers can shoot at them, they will aim for the Cannoneers, and that's what is happening right here. Also very confusing now how the Cannoneers are walking, that's certainly a strange strategy. But I still want to lose some words on the Fog Barrel topic. If you use it on the Marauders, you need to make sure that the other troops don't suffer a lot of damage because of that. And to support the Marauders, the healing barrel is in most cases also the better option. So from this point onwards, Chinito aims to collect some more damage. Of course, this result so far is not good at all. A lot of mistakes happened here, but everybody can mess up a fight. It happens also to me from time to time, and it's especially worse when you're getting recorded and put on YouTube afterwards. So in the end, this fight here ends with 34% damage. Alright, on Facebook most of you were thinking that Ambinesh is gonna win the final match, so it'll be interesting to see how your favorite player performs here. Keep in mind, in his first attack he only got 32%.
Beat the boss, MB Nash.
So here comes the last fight from the player who's expected to win this match. So he told me before this fight that he actually was feeling the pressure, which is a good thing if BTB goes so far that players getting excited about it. But back to the fight, he starts off as well at the bottom with a big push, but instantly the troops start to move around the base, which is a common picture if you attack in one big push. But unfortunately for me, the effect of the Berserk Barrel expires and the Cannoneers need to destroy the walls now to get to the Crystal Spire, which means he's entering now the inner core of my base. And it looks like that all the troops from him moved exactly to that position to focus now on the Stronghold. Another healing and Berserk Barrel then will make sure that he's taking down the Stronghold, and now he got all the time to go crazy inside of the center. That's on the other hand also an issue of this base. If troops make their way into the center, nothing can stop them because there are no traps, and therefore he gets as well the second star. But as soon as the Cannoneers face the Dragon Tower, even they cannot do anything against it. So we got here in the end some Cannoneers left who shouldn't be too much of a problem, and some more Marauders who will walk eventually into the trap when they reach the cannon. So this is all but over. I think we're gonna see her in a second. Some archers coming up to get maximum out of this fight. That was really a good attack and the only one where at least one star was earned against me in this episode, which shows a good skill from him, although if the Berserk Barrel would have lasted just a little longer, the Cannoneers wouldn't have moved towards the Crystal Spire, and who knows how the battle would have ended here then. But still, he deserves definitely this result, and in the end he gets your amazing 66% damage. So when we return to the tournament table, we can now determine the rankings of this season. It started with 8 players, 4 of them made it here and only 3 of them will get some diamonds. So we're gonna start from behind, and the 4th place will go to Chinito, who had quite a bad day when he was attacking me, I suppose. 3rd place, which is only 3% behind the second one, goes to ID Zeus, who delivered here a very good fight. Then the second one, credited with 150 diamonds, goes to Demons, who represented very well the Stronghold 8 players. And finally, with 66% damage and the only 2 stars given today, agaisnt will get the 1st place in this season. Congratulations bro, you'll get there for the 250 diamonds. That being said, I'm sure you also want to know who the 3 players will be who voted correctly for agaisnt, and the names will be shown now somewhere on the screen. It might take some time to transfer the diamonds to you, so please be patient if they are not arriving today. So this is the end of season 2, and I hope you had fun watching the whole season. If you haven't watched season 1 yet, where I was attacking player with a handicap, simply click now on that thumbnail. If you want to have a season 3 in BTB, make sure to show me that by hitting the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. This is it from me. Have a great raid. Peace out.